Chill Army, Deondre7 here, and welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Anime Episode Reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing Pokemon Journeys Episode 74, Darkrai, A Midsummer Night's Dream. So going over our major events, a wild Cresselia and Darkrai are targeted by Team Rocket's Matori Matrix, Ash and Goh travel to Sinnoh again while Chloe travels to the region for the first time, Dawn meets Chloe for the first time. In the process, Dawn is revealed to have returned from her journey in Johto, Ash and Goh encounter the wild Darkrai, and Dawn and Chloe encounter the wild Cresselia. This being a two-parter episode grants it more time than usual to tell its story, and while the approach taken within the episode wasn't perhaps optimal, it does allow this episode to spend more time building up the early blocks before the plot truly starts. I actually enjoy the first scene between Chloe and her father, and also the later one within the Cerise household, as they hit quite well the mundane, grounded bent of Chloe's character as an average girl within the Pokemon world. Seeing Professor Cerise having to cancel a family vacation thanks to work commitments and every other member of the family already being set is simultaneously an amusing family scene and an honest launchpad for Chloe choosing to take a trip to Sinnoh by herself, even all out going against the thought of joining Ash and Goh that her father suggests. This enables her to showcase her agency and fits along with her growth throughout the series, going from the girl on the sidelines that may rather avoid getting involved to someone willing to take an opportunity on doing something. And considering Dawn's presence within the episode, I found amusing the parallel to Dawn's own departure from home with a way too big suitcase just for her mother to supply a smaller and more functional alternative. This episode does fine in highlighting said growth by using most of the primary half for Chloe's solo misadventures in Sinnoh. Between clumsily running away from a trainer offering a battle to choosing to indulge a whim of Eevee's by heading to Eterna City for a Pokemon contest. Dawn may be a character that makes for a remarkable counterpoint to Chloe, as she's one among the most assertive and self-assured of Ash's former traveling companions, and thus pairing a now seasoned traveling trainer with someone who's still dipping her toes within the Pokemon world even now makes for an honest dynamic that this episode can specialize in solidifying. For the most part, I feel Dawn had a quite solid characterization and portrayal during this episode, managing to keep her nice and friendly personality while still showcasing her as a goofy, confrontational, and not above sass and snipes girl that's larger than life to contrast the more by-the-book, straight woman-esque Chloe. Seeing her relate to her prior adventures, even having Dawn name-dropping explicitly to having traveled through Hoenn, Unova, Johto, and a group of 3 in her original Sinnoh journey, could be a solid way to establish the girls' friendship with one another, and having them bicker a bit thanks to their contrasting personalities, only to make up for after a short scuffle where they both pitch in to face a sleep-deprived Rhydon until it falls asleep, was a decent way to have them form a bond the audience can buy and puts them both in an exceedingly good place for the correct storyline of the arc to start next time, with Chloe and Dawn stumbling onto the injured Cresselia. That said, while I overall like this as a setup episode for an ultimately simple plot, I still do have some grievances and nitpicks to form, the largest of which is that perhaps that this episode involves an excessive amount of setup, as while the plot is straightforward enough that it can be closed the next episode, plenty of this one was spent totally on character moments and interaction prior to the plot, and I feel cut a small amount of fat from Chloe's solo journey to have the girl's side of the main plot start a bit before the very end. I also feel that while Dawn's handling was for the most part in line along with her characterization, the story ended up overturning a bit too much with the contrast between Chloe and Dawn within the middle part of the episode, between the sheer abuse of the latter's "no need to worry" catchphrase to making her a tad too distracted and susceptible to silliness, And while I can buy a conflict of Chloe eager to head to Eterna City immediately while Dawn wants to stop and enjoy the trip on the road, it could have been tempered a small amount, though it was at least a blip instead of a persistent problem. I also found it strange to see Dawn employ only Piplup when by all logic she has a whole team at her disposal, considering the previews we got seems to imply she also won't use any of her other Pokemon next episode, which seems like an odd way to target Piplup's mascot appeal despite the very fact this episode also tries to pay attention to the actual fact that Dawn has her own history as a trainer and really acknowledges continuity revolving around her. Concluding this review, this was a good episode that, despite some characterization glitches and maybe lengthy setup, winds up making for a good benchmark of Chloe's progress by showing how far she's come while still showing she has ways to go for her personal arc, with good usage of Dawn as a companion and eventual friend of Chloe, and pretty nice bits of continuity and Easter eggs from the series past and also the Diamond and Pearl era specifically. This was a good character-focused start for a straightforward, but thus far enjoyable story arc. I'm gonna give this episode a 9 out of 10. That being said, that's going to be it for today's episode of Pokemon Anime Episode Reviews. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to smackety smack that like button as it really helps me out with the algorithm. Also subscribe and click that bell icon. It's 100% free, so no excuses. And be sure to check out all of my other videos. But until then, I love you all and I'll see you guys on the next video. Only good, chill army.